The next table looked nearly the same. Qin Hongmian took the seat of honor and pulled Liu Mai down beside her. Xu Shan sat on her other side, and the rest of the family and kids filled the remaining chairs. Fatty Liu was completely lost. Who would have guessed this ordinary-looking mother and son would command that kind of respect from Boss Han and Boss Tang? Fatty Liu, what are you spacing out for? You're the only one still standing. Do I need to come over and invite you personally? Han Chi's words made Fatty Liu's face go stiff. The last empty chair at the head table was right next to He Huan. Too embarrassed to stall any longer, he sat down fast. Han Chi pulled a bottle of Wu Liangyi from under the table and started pouring. Fatty Liu, all of you, Boss Tang and Brother He are visiting my home for the first time today. I'm a lightweight, so you need to help me take good care of them. Tang Shengji said, you call yourself a lightweight? I can't even outdrink you. He turned toward the junior site managers. Your Boss Han can really hold his liquor. Just keep him company. I'll take care of Brother He. You're the guest from out of town, no way you're playing host. Let me handle Brother his drinks. He Huan chuckled. Don't fight over it. I can manage 2 cups at most. Any more and I'll probably make a fool of myself. By that, he meant he'd puke. Tang Shengji and Han Chi both laughed. We're all family here, no shame in that. Fatty Liu's scalp prickled. Anyone 2 bosses called brother couldn't be ordinary. Why did I have to run my mouth and piss off someone that important? Once Han Chi had filled every glass at the table, he raised his own and stood. You all know what happened at the site yesterday. Without Boss Tang and Brother his full backing, we'd have lost this project. So today I want to properly thank these 2 brothers of mine. He Huan waved a hand. It's our own business, Brother Han. No need for all these formalities. Tang Shengji nodded. Between the 3 of us, let's skip the ceremony. The others looked stunned. It made sense that Boss Tang put up money and effort, but what could this young guy have possibly done? At the other table, Qin Hongmian looked at Xu Shan, confused. Sister, do you know what actually happened at the site yesterday? Xu Shan was just as puzzled. No idea. He just said there was some trouble, but he never told me what. I know. Everyone turned to look at Tang Cici. She blushed and mumbled, only, I'm not sure I'm allowed to say. Qin Hongmian said, why wouldn't you be? Since Uncle Han brought it up, it means we don't have to keep it secret anymore. Tang Cici figured that made sense. Everything was fine now, so there was no point hiding it. Yesterday there was a huge brawl at the site, hundreds of people. Everyone gasped. Han Bin's eyes went wide. A fight with hundreds of people. Compared to his dad, he really was just a kid. Tang Cici went on proudly. We won and kept the site. Liu Mai's heart pounded. Did my Huan take part? He's too chicken to fight. But he put up $1 million to get everyone together. Liu Mai frowned. Had her son emptied his stock market account, but most of that money belonged to other people, he wouldn't be that reckless, would he? He Chen guessed what Liu Mai was thinking and whispered in her ear, Brother actually has a lot of money. He never told the whole truth. Liu Mai whispered back, how much does your brother have? I don't know. Seeing Liu Mai still frowning, He Chen added, Mom, the innocent man is guilty of possessing a treasure. Brother is only 19. If bad people knew how much he had, he'd be in danger. That's why he never told anyone the real amount. Liu Mai's face relaxed into a smile. Don't worry, unless he tells me himself, I won't ask. At the other table, Han Chi was still making his impassioned speech. We won yesterday, but this project is just getting started. There'll be more trouble ahead. I hope every brother here will work together to build this business bigger and stronger and reach new heights. Cheers. Cheers. He Huan eyed the small cup in front of him. Maybe half a liang in his past life, he could knock back a whole catty without a problem, so he didn't hesitate. He tossed it back. Tang Shengji's eyes lit up. Brother He, and you said you couldn't drink? Looks like you've got guts. If everyone else finished theirs, I'd stick out if I didn't. Let's take it slower going forward. Too fast and I really can't handle it. Han Qi laughed. Alright, everyone, dig into the dog meat. It's been braising for over an hour. The flavors really soaked in. He Huan took a bite. Wood-fired and braised, it was outstanding. After a few more bites, he picked up his glass and moved to the other table. First he toasted Han Qi's parents. The old couple didn't drink and weren't big talkers, but they were very courteous when He Huan came by. He refilled his glass and turned to Su Shan. Sister-in-law, thank you for the warm welcome today. Dog meat, roast lamb, what a feast, and no wonder Brother Han has done so well these last few years. He's got a wonderful wife backing him up. A toast to you. Su Shan beamed, seeing that He Huan had drained his cup. She said quickly, you're so straightforward, just a gesture is plenty. And with that, she finished her drink. Soda. Next He Huan toasted Qin Hongmian. With another string of flattering words that crinkled her eyes, she turned to Liu Mai. Sister Liu, look at how smooth your son is, so natural and confident. He's definitely going to make a fortune, and you'll reap all the benefits. Su Shan added, Sister Liu, honestly, in the younger generation, I've never seen anyone as steady and mature as He Huan. He's already this impressive, his future is limitless. You've got endless blessings ahead. Liu Mai looked at He Huan. He stood tall, smiling. He really did look like a grown man. A warmth filled her heart. Just yesterday I still thought of him as a kid, then all of a sudden, he's turned into an adult. He Huan set his glass down and returned to his seat. Tang Shengji gave him a look of genuine admiration. You even knew to go toast the other tables, and you claim you can't drink. Come on. You're an old hand at this. He Huan laughed. Never eaten pork, but I've sure seen pigs run. TV's full of scenes like that. Tang Shengji wasn't buying a word of it in his mind. He Huan had definitely drunk before. How else could he move through the room so smoothly, with such polished toast lines? He made up his mind. Today, he was going to find out exactly how much He Huan could handle. He grabbed his glass, went to toast the next table, then came back and zeroed in on He Huan. Brother He, yesterday's win over Ku Zhibang, you earned the biggest share of the credit. Come on. 1 cup. He Huan didn't dodge it. He raised his glass and emptied it. They took a few bites of food. Tang Shengji spoke up again. Old Han, brother He's eating at your table. How come you haven't toasted him yet? Han Qi frowned. Wasn't this He Huan's first time drinking? Did they really need to push this fast? He Huan caught the weirdness too. Old man, you're sticking your nose in way too far. Whether Han Qi wants to drink with me is none of your business. The thought crossed his mind. Tang Shengji suddenly leaned over and whispered something to Han Qi. He Huan had already been suspicious. Now it all clicked. He cursed silently. Tang Shengji, you old snake. I open up to you, and you're trying to get me drunk? Fine, today we go down together. Nobody walks away clean. Sure enough, Han Qi's expression shifted the moment he heard whatever Tang Shengji said. He lifted his glass toward He Huan with a smile. Brother He, first time at my place, let me toast you. He Huan didn't move. He kept working on his lamb chop. Brother Han, that's not how things are done. Han Qi blinked. What do you mean? Look around this table. By age, Brother Tang's the elder. Shouldn't you toast him first? Tang Shengji knew the game. You had to risk a pawn to hook the bigger fish. He turned to Han Qi. Old Han, since Brother He says so, let's you and me go first. Both downed their glasses. Han Chi refilled his own glass and tried He Huan again. He Huan still didn't move. Brother Han, second round, you still have to toast Brother Tang first. By company rank, he's half a level above you. That makes him your boss. By all accounts, you drink with your boss first. Tang Shengji finally saw the trap. You little brat. The curse ran through his head. I just want to see your limit, and you're already trying to take me out. Fine. I'll show you why older really is wiser. Old Han and I just drank. Even if we go again, we need to catch our breath. Brother He, old Han's toasted you twice now. You've got to drink at least one of those. Brother Han's way older than me. If anyone's doing the toasting, it should be me toasting him, but right now, Brother Han still owes you first, Brother Tang. Han Chi was getting annoyed. So you two want to screw each other over, and you couldn't care less if I get caught in the crossfire. I have to toast him, then toast you. I'll be dead before either of you settles things. Fine, nobody gets out alive. He cut in. Enough back and forth. We'll drink this one together. Nobody gets the short end. Tang Shengji and He Huan both understood Han Chi was staying neutral. They could fight this out themselves. Both nodded. Tang Shengji thought, I've been drinking for decades. I'm not scared of some rookie. I don't need backup to drown him. He Huan thought, I'm 19. Young and fierce. Some old geezer's not going to outlast me. Bring it. The three raised their glasses together, drank, then took a few bites. Tang Shengji turned to Fatty Liu and the others. Let me introduce everyone. This is President He, one of the company's shareholders. Go toast him. Fatty Liu had already offended He Huan with his earlier comments and had been looking for a way to smooth things over. The moment Tang Shengji spoke, he raised his glass. President He, sorry about earlier. I'll drink this as an apology. He Huan kept his expression flat. President Tang and President Han are both here. Why toast only me? You want to toast? Toast all three of us. That's fair. He was dragging everyone down with him. Tang Shengji let out a short laugh but agreed. Fine, from here on out, absolute fairness. The three of us drink together. Nobody gets left behind. Han Chi wasn't about to back down now. Then let's drink properly. I've got plenty of liquor in this house. And just like that, the three of them locked into a steady rhythm. Pour, raise, drink. Take a bite. Repeat. An hour later, Han Chi picked up the bottle and found it empty. 5 empties sat on the floor. Adding the one in his hand, that meant the 10 of them had finished 6 bottles of Wu Liang. On paper, just over half a bottle per person wasn't much, but the other managers had barely touched theirs. He, Tang Shengji, and He Huan had been driving the pace way too hard. Each of them had put away nearly a full bottle. Han Chi gave the empty a deliberate shake, testing the room. Neither He Huan nor Tang Shengji called it quits. So you two really want a death match? Fine. I'll play. He called out toward the next table. Han Bin, go to the study and bring another case of Wu Liang Yi. Su Shan grabbed Han Bin's arm and looked at Han Chi. Alright, that's enough drinking. Look at President Tang. Look at Brother He. How bad a shape do they look to you? He Huan's head was spinning. Pure willpower was keeping him upright, but he still forced the words out, stubborn as ever. I'm fine. I can still do another half bottle. But Brother Tang, if you can't handle it, feel free to take a break. Can't handle it? Kids these days have no idea what their limits are. I'll find out exactly how much you can really take. Tang Shengji sneered. You can still drink another half bottle. If you can, I'll match you every step of the way. Now they were fully locked in. Liu Mai's voice tightened with worry. Huan, don't force it if you can't hold any more. He Qian placed a bottle of yogurt beside He Huan's plate. Bro, drink some yogurt first. They say it helps settle your stomach. He Huan saw the concern in both their eyes, and a sharp wave of regret hit him. What am I doing? Why am I letting myself turn this into a drinking contest? I'm making mom and sis worry for nothing. He set his chopsticks down and looked at Tang Shengji. Father-in-law, let's call a truce for today. We'll settle things another time. Tang Shengji froze. For a second he thought he'd misheard. What did you just call me? Don't think I don't know what you're doing. You want to marry your daughter off to me. I accept. Every head at the table turned toward Tang Cici. Her face went bright red. He Huan, are you trying to get yourself killed? How can you just blurt that out in front of everyone? Liu Mai studied He Huan's face. It was flushed, his eyes were half closed, like he could fall asleep any second. She turned to Tang Shengji, embarrassed. President Tang, I'm sorry. He Huan's drunk. He doesn't know what he's saying. But Tang Shengji was beaming. Sister Liu, that's truth from wine, not nonsense. Liu Mai stared at him, completely thrown. Shouldn't you be furious? Why do you look so happy? Han Chi's voice came from behind. President Tang, are you and He Huan still drinking? Drink what? Haven't you seen my good son-in-law is already drunk? Honey, call the fire department. Get my good son-in-law to the hospital. Tang Cici's blush deepened. It's not the fire department, you idiot. It's an ambulance. Qin Hongmian already had her phone out. Laro Tang, you should know better. You knew this was He Huan's first time drinking, and you let him put away that much. What if he's hurt himself? Tang Cici piled on, furious. Dad, from now on, you are never drinking with He Huan again ever. Liu Mai and He Chen traded a look as though that was it. He Huan really had been speaking truth from wine after all. This whole family actually wanted to marry their daughter to He Huan. The next morning, He Huan woke up desperate to take a piss. Out of habit, he reached for his phone on the nightstand. His wallet and keys were right there too. But the jeans he'd worn last night had vanished. He'd definitely gone way overboard. He vaguely remembered someone trying to call him an ambulance and him shutting that down hard. After that, it was a total blackout. He grabbed a random pair of jeans from the closet, pulled them on, and opened the door to find Liu Mai already working in the kitchen. Mom, aren't you going to work today? Liu Mai spotted him and her whole face brightened. I told Hu Jie I'd come in late. The Tangs are driving back to Jiangcheng this morning. I packed up some dog meat yesterday, so I figured I'd make them dog meat noodles. He Huan let out a breath of relief. Finally, these people were leaving. But then Liu Mai added, oh, and I can't call him Manager Tang anymore. It's in-law now. He Huan's eyes went wide. What? What in-law? You're the one who said it last night, remember? You called Manager Tang your father-in-law, said he wanted you to marry his daughter and you agreed. He Huan's face started to twist. Damn it. Cheap booze really screwed me over. Yes, if they'd been waiting for the cue, Tang Shengji and Qin Hongmian came out of their room at that exact moment. They were all smiles morning. In-law, they said to Liu Mai. He Huan felt like he was losing his mind. Hold on. All this in-law business, did I actually agree to this? Tang Shengji looked genuinely confused. You called me your father-in-law last night. You're saying you can just take that back? How the hell does anything I said while I was wasted count for anything? Tang Shengji clapped him on the shoulder and laughed. Young people get all embarrassed about this romantic stuff. I understand. You don't understand a damn thing. Qin Hongmian was still smiling. Your mom and I already talked it through. You and Cici are still young, but you can make things official now and have the wedding after you finish college. Liu Mai beamed. Huan, make sure you talk to Cici more. Her grades are amazing. If you ever run into trouble, you can always ask her to help you. He Huan wanted to cry but couldn't even squeeze out a single tear. I was completely out of my mind last night. Please don't take anything I said seriously. And Tang Cici's personality, you really think she'd just go along with this? Cece said she agreed last night. Qin Hongmian said she even added you on some app she's waiting for you to accept. It's QQ, you kids and your newfangled gadgets. Damn it, Tang Cece, so this is your version of a modern, independent woman. You just turned 18 and you're already in a rush to get married, and if you absolutely have to marry someone, why on earth would you pick me? After using the bathroom and taking a shower, He Huan felt physically cleaner but just as miserable inside. The second he opened the door, he found Tang Cece standing there like a ghost. He nearly jumped out of his skin. Good thing he was already dressed, or that little demon would have gotten an eyeful. What are you doing? He asked. Tang Cece sniffed, brushing my teeth and washing my face. Obviously. I've been waiting out here forever. You don't have to guard the door just to wait your turn. It's not like I can see anything, she said. What's the problem? Besides, you said what you said in front of everybody last night. He Huan felt a headache coming on. He pulled her a couple of steps deeper into the bathroom, far enough that nobody outside could see them unless they really leaned in. Even though the door was wide open, Tang Cece's heart started hammering. The faint scent of body wash still clung to He Huan after his shower, and it hit her like some kind of love potion. The air between them turned thick and awkward. She blushed, dropped her gaze, and whispered, He Huan, what are you doing? I'm warning you, even if you try to force something, I am not agreeing to that kind of thing. He Huan's patience was wearing thin. What is going through your head? That kind of thing. Your parents are literally right outside. What could I possibly do? I just want to talk. She almost sounded a little disappointed. Fine. What do you want? He Huan lowered his voice. Last night I was wasted and not thinking straight. Anything I said, just treat it like hot air. Don't take any of it seriously. Tang Cece blinked her big eyes at him. But people say the truth comes out when you're drunk. If you didn't mean it, why did you call my dad that? Because of your sister Tang Yuan. This has absolutely nothing to do with you. He Huan was genuinely troubled now. He stared at her stunning face and asked, as calmly as he could manage, even if I did say that last night, would you actually want to be my, girlfriend? Tang Cece opened her mouth, but He Huan didn't give her a chance to speak. Think it through before you answer. You've only known me a couple of days. You don't even know what kind of person I am. What if I turn out to be a total creep? You've got plenty of guys chasing after you. There's gotta be someone out there better looking, richer, and nicer than I am. Even if there isn't now, there will be someday. So just really think about it, okay? If I meet someone better looking, richer, and nicer than you, then I'll just dump you and go for him. He Huan froze. What kind of answer was that? No, wait, she was actually saying yes. Tang Cece laughed. Look at you, all scared. Even if someone better does come along, I'm not gonna just dump you like that. She expected him to look relieved. Instead, his face only got tighter. She frowned. What's wrong? I'm this pretty and you're still not satisfied. He Huan let out a long, defeated breath. If you want to be my girlfriend, you've got to meet a few conditions. If you think you can handle them, fine, I'll accept my fate. What kind of conditions? First, be gentle. If you start yelling at me or getting physical, I'm done. Second, be obedient. If you argue with every single thing I say like some professional contrarian, I don't want that either. Third, Yuan, don't go in there. A voice cut in from outside, and Tang Yuan came charging into the bathroom only to be grabbed by a pair of hands and yanked right back out. He Huan rushed to the doorway and saw Liu Mai, He Qian, Tang Shengji, and Qin Hongmian all scattering, pretending they hadn't been lined up eavesdropping. So now I'm giving a public speech. Great. Just as things were getting awkward, Liu Mai spoke up. Huan, what are you standing out here for? Go keep Cece company. Tang Shengji and Qin Hongmian chimed in right after. Yeah, You young people go talk. We honestly didn't hear a thing. He Huan forced a couple of dry laughs. Chat? About what? This had already turned into a circus. After breakfast, He Huan's family walked the Tangs all the way to the parking lot. They traded pleasantries, and finally the Range Rover rolled out of the complex. He Huan didn't feel any lighter. If anything, he felt worse. Liu Mai, on the other hand, was walking on air. She'd been grinning since morning. Seeing He Huan moping, she warned him, He Huan, listen, Cece is a good girl, treat her right, and stop moping around with that sour look on your face all day. He Huan said helplessly, Mom, she's 100 kilometers away. How am I supposed to treat her right? Liu Mai had to concede that point. She added you on QQ, didn't she? When you chat with her, at least be warm. He Huan waved her off. Yeah, I got it, Mom. A year of high school, 4 years of college and 5 years, who knew what would happen between them? Liu Mai went off to work in high spirits. He Huan and his sister went back inside, pulled out their homework, and started grinding through it. They'd had too much fun the past 2 days. Now only 1 day left to finish everything. By 4 that afternoon, they'd both wrapped up their assignments. He Huan pulled out his phone out of habit. Point 2 unread messages. Point 1 from Tang Cece, sent around noon, demanding to know why he hadn't accepted her QQ friend request yet. She'd probably sent it as soon as she got home. He'd been buried in homework and had completely forgotten. He opened QQ and accepted. Then he typed back, sorry, I was buried in homework all day. Before he could close the app, the typing indicator appeared. A few seconds later, it vanished. Then it reappeared. He Huan chuckled to himself. What was so hard to say, typing and deleting over and over? After a long pause, a single word popped up on the screen, oh. He Huan was puzzled. With her personality, shouldn't she be blowing up at him? All that hesitation for one word. How was he supposed to answer that? He Huan wasn't the type to overthink. If he didn't know how to reply, he just wouldn't. He opened the other message. It was from Han Bin, inviting him to play basketball at school, sent about 10 minutes ago. He Huan called out, Chanshan, you done with homework? Finished ages ago. Alright, let's head to school. He Chen leaned out of her room. Already, it's only 4. Han Bin asked me to play ball. Nothing else to do at home, might as well get some exercise at school. He Chen's eyes lit up. You play basketball? Let's go, I wanna see you play. The siblings grabbed their books and homework and headed to school. Meanwhile, in a villa in Jiangcheng, Tang Cece was sprawled across her desk. A test paper lay in front of her, but her eyes were locked on her phone screen. When no reply came after a long while, she flung the phone down and muttered to herself. Stupid He Huan, idiot He Huan, why won't he reply? He could at least say what he's doing, or ask what I'm doing. Does he even know how to date, that dumb pig? No, I have to be nice. I can't be so contrary. Since he won't ask, I'll just tell him myself. She picked up her phone and typed, I've been catching up on homework all day too. The message disappeared into the void. Still nothing on the other end. Tang Cece slumped in defeat. He Huan arrived at school and spotted Han Bin on the court. He handed his homework to He Chen. Take these up to my desk for me. She nodded and darted off toward the teaching building. Han Bin had just bricked a shot and was about to curse when someone called out from behind. He turned, saw He Huan, and his face lit up. Huanji, wanna run a game? Yeah, why else would I show up this early? A few other guys were on the court, all part of Han Bin's crew. They'd been in that fight with Cao Xin before the break. They all knew He Huan was the real big spender, even richer than Han Bin't school, teachers liked the top students. But students liked the big brother who was generous with his cash. He Huan had casually dropped $2,000 to treat everyone to dinner last time, How could those little punks not worship that kind of money? They all followed Han Bin's lead and called him Huan Ge. He Huan felt a little awkward about it. It made him feel like some kind of gang boss, but he adapted fast, and soon he was joking around with them. Han Bin quickly set up teams. Naturally, he paired up with He Huan, plus a tall kid from the school team. The rules were simple: first to 5 baskets wins. The losers not only gave up the court but had to drop and do 10 push-ups. He Huan was brimming with confidence. In his past life, at company basketball games, wasn't he always the scoring champion? Handling a bunch of high school kids would be a piece of cake. He was even a little annoyed Han Bin had added a school team guy to their side. He was the scoring champ. Why would he need some school team benchwarmer to carry him? But soon, He Huan was drowning in self-doubt. He couldn't get to the rim. His shots clanked off the iron when he tried to dribble and set up the offense. He got stripped. He Huan finally understood. In his past life, at those company games, the employees had all been letting him score. He thought bitterly, I should have known with my skills. How was I top scorer every single game? You bunch of bastards. If I ever go back, I'm firing every last one of you. That school team kid He Huan had looked down on, he was the real MVP. Whether shooting or banging bodies, he was miles ahead of everyone else. Without him carrying them, He Huan and Han Bin, those two scrubs, would have been doing push-ups ages ago. During a break, He Huan asked the tall guy, "What's your name, bro?" The kid scratched his head, shy. "Huan Ge. I'm Li Wei." Han Bin jumped in. "Huan Ge, he's a beast on the court. They call him Westbrook." No wonder Westbrook, her. He Huan's fundamentals were solid, but he still struggled with physical contact. After about an hour, though, he started finding his rhythm, and shot after shot dropped clean through the net. Wei Xiao drove hard into the lane and got double-teamed. He spotted He Huan wide open beyond the three-point line and whipped a crisp behind-the-back pass right into his hands. He Huan gathered, jumped from a standstill, and launched a two-handed shot. The ball arced high and swished through. "Huan Ge, you're a beast." Through the cheers, one voice cut clear, "Go, He Huan." He Huan glanced toward the baseline. 3 pretty young women stood in a row. He Qian and Zhu Xiaohan had come to watch earlier, so they didn't surprise him. But the third was Li Lan, the class beauty. That go, He Huan, had definitely come from her. He checked the time. Nearly 6. They'd been running for an hour and a half. He called over to Han Bin. "Han Bin, you guys about done?" Han Bin wiped the sweat off his face. "Yeah, we gotta eat." "Good. Let's grab food outside campus. Bring Wei Xiao and the others." When He Huan said they were eating, it meant eating well. Han Bin hustled to round everyone up. Li Lan stood there holding a can of Red Bull, still debating whether to hand it over, when she saw He Chen walk up with a cold bottle of water. "Bro, I had no idea you could ball like that." He Huan laughed, feeling pretty pleased with himself. He took the water from He Chen. "It's been a while. I'm still rusty. Otherwise I'd have sunk a lot more." He twisted the cap off and was about to drink when Li Lan shoved the Red Bull in front of him. "Good game, this is for you." He Huan frowned a little and didn't take it. Li Lan said impatiently, "Just take it already. It's been sitting in my fridge for days. It'll expire if you don't drink it." He Chen laughed and took the can for him. "Thanks, Lanjie. I'll hold on to it for my brother." Even though He Huan hadn't accepted it himself, Li Lan still felt a secret little thrill. He Chen added, "Lanjie, have you eaten? Come grab something with us." "I ate at home already, you guys go ahead." Li Lan wasn't lying. She'd had dinner before coming back to school. She returned to the classroom, pulled out a practice test, and tried to work on it, but her mind kept drifting. Half an hour later, she hadn't even finished the multiple choice section. She set her pen down and rested her head sideways on the desk. He Huan walked in from the hallway. She saw Li Lan looking dazed and joked, "Class beauty, which hunk are you daydreaming about?" Li Lan's face went red. She sat up straight. "What are you even talking about?" He Huan giggled. "Don't deny it. Your eyes were totally blank. If that's not a crush, what is it?" "Quit it. I was thinking about a problem." "What problem? Show me." Li Lan snapped. "He Huan, if you keep messing around, I'm done talking to you." He Huan laughed. Okay, I'm just teasing. As if the class beauty would be thinking about some guy like the rest of us. You're the one who thinks about guys all day." He Huan suddenly leaned in close and lowered her voice. "Hey, class beauty Li. Did the midterm results come out yet?" "They must have." "So what's my rank?" "I don't even know my own. How would I know yours?" "Your mom didn't tell you?" "Give me a break. She's working late tonight. No time to talk." He Huan had to admit that made sense. Usually, the grade sheet got posted on the wall right before evening self-study. Fenggan walked in and noticed He Huan's empty seat. He asked, "Huanji's not here yet?" Li Lan almost said something but held back. She was afraid He Huan's big mouth would twist it into some rumor about her, and He Huan shot Fenggan a weird look. "Didn't you used to call him Huanzi? Since when is he Ji now?" Fenggan chuckled. "Let me tell you a secret. He Huan is actually a hidden big shot in our class. You better talk nice to him, or he'll have his crew on you in seconds." He Huan rolled her eyes. "Fenggan, you are so full of it. He Huan, put me in my place. I'd crack his skull open in 2 seconds flat." Right then, He Huan walked in and caught the last part. He looked genuinely confused. "He Huan, why are you trying to crack my skull open? What, you think I'm too smart and you want to steal my brain?" "TCH, with your IQ, what would I want with your brain? This idiot." Fenggan said, "You're some kind of gangster and told us not to piss you off." Fenggan protested. "When did I say that? Don't twist my word." "Then what did you mean?" "I meant Huanji has serious game. Don't underestimate him." He Huan saw Li Lan and He Huan staring at him like he was a puzzle. He smiled. "I do have a little game. If you ever run into trouble out there, drop my name, might help a tiny bit." "Oh, so you're Mr. Big Shot now. Alright, Mr. Big Shot. What did you get in class rank this time? Tell us, make us laugh." "Around 50th, not super high, but it's a big jump." "That confident? What if you don't make top 50? "If I don't, I'll buy everyone in class a bottle of cola. You, He Huan, get 2. He Huan hopped onto a chair and shouted to the whole class, "Everybody quiet, I've got news." The noisy room went dead silent. All 60-something students turned to look at He Huan, the class clown, wondering what stunt she was about to pull. He Huan just said if he doesn't make top 50 this time, he's buying everyone a bottle of cola. The room erupted. People started yelling, all of them begging He Huan not to make top 50. Guojing walked in holding the grade sheet. She found the room in chaos and raised her voice. "Prep period's about to start. What's with all the noise?" He Huan froze. She scrambled down from the chair, but Guojing's eyes had already locked onto her. "He Huan, what were you doing up there? Trying to take off and fly somewhere?" He Huan dropped her head and didn't dare answer. "Li Lan, put this on the wall." With that, Guojing set the grade sheet on the podium and walked out. Li Lan went up to get it. Kids in the front row craned their necks and whispered, "Li Lan, what's He Huan's rank?" Li Lan glanced down at the sheet. Her eyes went wide. She shot He Huan a strange look. The second He Huan saw her expression, he knew he was in the clear. He called out, "He Huan, if I made top 50, you're buying everyone cola too." "I do not have that kind of cash. I'll only buy you 2 bottles." Works for me. He Huan turned back to Li Lan, impatient. Class beauty Li. Come on. What's He Huan's rank? Still dead last. Her voice wasn't loud, but the whole class caught it. Laughter rippled through the room. The bottom-ranked student had grinded for an entire month and was still at the very bottom. He Huan thought Li Lan must have read it wrong. He hurried up to the podium and checked for himself. Sure enough, his name was all the way at the end. Every subject showed a perfect 0. The bad news: his total score had actually dropped. The good news: his rank hadn't budged. That night, Guo Jing had math tutoring duty, and she walked into the classroom carrying a thick stack of exam papers from the office. The noisy room fell dead silent. Guo Jing found it odd. The monthly exam had been brutal, and most of the class had bombed, so why did they all look so happy? She handed the tests to the group leaders to pass out. He Huan got his back, and every head around him craned in for a look. Feng Gan leaned over. Hey, your paper says 94. Why's the grade sheet showing a big fat 0? That kind of thing usually meant you messed up your name or exam number. He Huan checked the top of the page. Name was correct. Exam number XXXX036. Had he written the wrong number? He wasn't 100% sure. It felt like he'd done it right. But it also felt like maybe he hadn't. At the podium, Guo Jing cleared her throat. For this monthly exam, I want to give special praise to He Huan. His scores jumped massively in every subject, especially English, 131. But I also have to single him out for criticism. He Huan, on every single test, you wrote the wrong exam number. Your correct last two digits are 038. You wrote 036 on every paper. That means every subject score is a 0038, 036. How had he mixed those up? A sharp pain shot through He Huan's head, and a memory rushed to the surface. It was the night before he crossed over. He'd been dead drunk. Someone was helping him back to the hotel. He'd been crystal clear that his room was 038, but the person next to him kept saying his room was 036. Then that person opened the door to 036 and helped him inside, and after that, he'd been reborn into 2007. Looking back, that whole night felt off. Was his room 038 or 036? Who was that man beside him? What happened once he walked into 036? Why had he been reborn, out of nowhere? Could it be? The more He Huan thought, the more unsettled he became. A cold sweat broke out across his back. He Huan, are you okay? A worried voice yanked him back. He Huan looked at Li Lan's face, full of concern and confusion, and a sudden warmth spread through his chest. It's nothing, he said, just thinking about some bad stuff. You only wrote the wrong exam number. Next time, just pay a little more attention, right? He Huan had to agree. He'd already been reborn. What was the point of obsessing? Better to live in the moment. At worst, he'd just be a little more careful from here on out. A faint smile crossed his face. Thanks. When Li Lan heard that thanks, a sudden rush of happiness bloomed inside her. The evening study break bell rang, and He Huan immediately called out, Hey, He Huan, so when are you buying those cokes? Li Lan frowned. He Huan, you're seriously holding him to that? Last time you lost a bet, you never followed through on yours. The handstand incident flashed through Li Lan's memory, and her face flushed a little with embarrassment. So he can just treat me, then that fine? You really that shameless? He Huan felt pretty good watching Li Lan stick up for him. But one bottle of Coke for everyone in class came to less than 200 yuan. He wasn't about to stiff them over that. Don't worry about it. 1 drink per person. Whole class. I got this. Ganji. Come with me to the school store. We're buying Cokes. Huanji, my man. It wasn't just Feng Gan. Everyone nearby lit up at those words, and a bunch of guys immediately offered to head downstairs with him. Li Lan was so annoyed she could have steamed. Show off with a little cash. Had he already forgotten the days he couldn't even scrape together tuition? But when she saw He Huan and his group already heading out, she got worried they'd mess up the tally and charge him too much, so she grabbed He Huan and dragged her along after them. There were 63 students in the class. The store didn't have enough Cokes, so they ended up mixing in iced black tea, Sprite, and yogurt drinks to make 64 bottles total. The final price came to 203 yuan. Just as He Huan was about to pull out his wallet, Li Lan spoke up. "Boss, we're buying a lot here. Can you knock off the change?" The owner agreed without missing a beat. They rushed back, but by the time they reached the classroom door, the bell for the next period had already rung. Guo Jing watched them file in, each one carrying a plastic bag bulging with drinks. "What's all this?" she asked, genuinely puzzled. He Huan said, "I lost a bet with He Huan, so now I'm buying everyone in class a drink." "What kind of bet?" "I said I'd crack the top 50 this exam instead. I grabbed dead last again. A man keeps his word, so drinks for the whole class." He Huan delivered it with such swagger that the whole class burst into cheers. Guo Jing didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "I ran your total scores. If you hadn't messed up your exam number, you'd have placed 46th in the class. Tough luck. I guess that if I screw up the exam number on the college entrance, I get a 0 there. Too. I'll take the hit and learn from it." Guo Jing couldn't help but feel a little impressed. The kid's tongue was quicker than hers, and every time, he made a point so solid she couldn't argue back. He Huan pulled out a bottle of yogurt drink and held it toward her. "Teacher Guo, you've worked hard. Have a drink, wet your throat." Guo Jing couldn't stop a laugh. "All right, stack the drinks on the podium and go sit down." Were they being confiscated? But with that huge smile on her face, nobody believed it. The students were confused. And then Guo Jing spoke again. "Senior year is brutal for everyone, so tonight, I'll borrow He Huan's generosity and hand these out on his behalf. Now, I'm calling names by rank. Come up and pick a drink when you hear yours." She pulled the grade sheet off the wall and started reading. Li Lan was first. She went up and grabbed a yogurt drink, then returned to her seat. He Huan was last. The only thing left on the podium was a bottle of iced black tea no one else had wanted. Watching how happy everyone looked, Guo Jing smiled first. "Let's all thank He Huan for his generosity second. If our class's average rank goes up in the next monthly exam, we'll do this again." Someone yelled from the back, "And who's paying next time?" Guo Jing was about to say she'd cover it herself, but at the last second, she shifted gears. "If He Huan makes it into the top 35 next exam, I'll pay it. If he doesn't, then he sponsors it. What do you all think?" He Huan listened to the explosion of cheers and groaned inside. What opinion was anyone else going to have? No matter who lost the bet, it wasn't their money on the line. Of course they were all in. "Hey, Teacher Guo, don't you think you should be asking the guy whose wallet you're volunteering?" Guo Jing raised a hand. "Don't get too excited just yet. The reward only happens if the class average rank goes up. If it doesn't, nothing happens." After evening study hall, He Huan and his sister walked in to find Liu Mai lying on the sofa, knitting a sweater. That was a rare sight. He Huan could only remember his mom knitting when he was very young. "Mom, why are you suddenly knitting?" Liu Mai glanced up at them briefly, then went back to her work. "I passed a mall today that had a yarn shop, so I bought some wool to knit a few sweaters." He Qian grinned. "Mom, you're the best. It's not even cold yet and you're already thinking about sweaters for me and my brother." Liu Mai gave her a strange look. "Who said I'm knitting for you too? These are for Cici." He Huan's jaw nearly dropped. "Why are you knitting for Tang Cici? Her family's loaded. Does she even need sweaters?" Liu Mai glared at him. "I'm doing this for you. With that clueless personality of yours, Do you even know how to win a girl over? I'll knit a few sweaters for Cece. When it gets cold, you send them to her and say you made them yourself." He Chen burst out laughing, doubling over. "Oh my God, Mom, what are you thinking? There's no way Tang Cece would believe my brother knitted those. Besides, it's the 21st century. No girl's going to throw herself at a guy just because he sends her a few sweaters." He Huan couldn't help smiling too. "Mom, you're overthinking this. If I send her those sweaters, she'll think I'm some guy who sits around doing needlework, totally unambitious and fussy." Liu Mai grew uncertain. "Really? Wouldn't she think you're gentle and family-oriented?" "It's the 21st century, Mom. That stuff you guys believed back in the day doesn't work anymore. I'm not so sure. If you treat people sincerely, they'll feel it. If it's not appropriate for you to give them, then I'll send them myself." He Huan shrugged. "Alright, but you should rest your eyes. It's almost 10 o'clock. Can you even see well enough to knit?" Liu Mai yawned and was about to head to her room when she remembered something. "Oh, have your midterm scores come out yet?" He Chen said proudly. "I got second in my class. As for my brother, you'll have to ask him." When Liu Mai turned to He Huan, he quickly said, "I did pretty steadily this time. No improvement, but no regression either. So still dead last." He Huan started to explain awkwardly. "Actually, it's mainly because alright, forget it. I don't expect you to get into a good college, but you'd better hold on to Cece. Her parents have great personalities, and she's beautiful and smart. A girl like that, you couldn't find one even with a lantern. Spend some time online chatting with her. Be enthusiastic. Don't let studying get in the way of dating." Don't let studying get in the way of dating. He Huan thought, my God, what mother says that to her son? But come to think of it, he hadn't checked his phone in a while. He wondered if that little demon Tang Cece had replied to any of his messages. He Huan went to his room and opened his phone's messaging app. Whoa, Tang Cece had sent over 20 unread messages. He scrolled to the top. The first one read, "I spent all day making up homework too." 20 minutes later, "Why aren't you saying anything? Still doing homework?" At 6 o'clock, "If you don't reply, I'm going to get mad." After that, a bunch of name-calling like stupid He Huan, jerk He Huan, all harmless insults. And then, just a few minutes ago, the last message. "He Huan, are you done with evening study hall? Get your butt online or I'm reporting you missing." He Huan couldn't help smiling. For the first time in his life, he actually thought the little demon was kind of cute. He quickly typed back, "Don't call the police. I just got home." She replied immediately, "Back from the dead, is this really you?" He Huan chuckled and typed, "Replying that fast? Were you just sitting there waiting for my reply? Bullshit. Who do you think you are, that I'd wait around for you to answer? I'm He Huan, your dad's future son-in-law." In her own room, Tang Cece read that and blushed. She muttered a curse under her breath, but the smile on her face was impossible to hide. Shameless. Nobody claims relatives like that. But with a smart mouth like that, you're definitely the real He Huan. Guess I don't need to call the cops. A moment later, He Huan replied, "Sorry, my school bans phones, so I keep mine on silent. I rarely check my messages unless something's up, so I didn't see your messages." Tang Cece felt a little warmth in her heart. She answered, "Fine, you found a good excuse this time. Next time you don't reply fast enough, I'll bite you to death. You know your own strength. You'd bite me to death. I'm a vampire. Of course I can bite you to death." He Huan sent a rolling eyes emoji and typed, "Here's a look for you to interpret." While he was focused on texting, He Chen slipped into the room without a sound. She peeked at his phone screen. "Who are you chatting with? You're grinning like an idiot." "Was I grinning?" "You were grinning ear to ear, still denying it." He Huan put his phone away. Why aren't you taking a shower? What are you doing in my room? He Chen snickered. I just wanted to know who's making you so happy, Cece, or Sister Lan. He Huan's expression turned serious. I have nothing going on with Li Lan. Nothing? Then why did she specially bring you a Red Bull today? He Huan frowned. The class beauty had been acting weird lately. That was a problem. He Chen grinned. Not bad, bro, dead last in the class, and you're juggling two girls, both top students and school beauties. Don't talk nonsense. I'm not. Relax. I'm your little sister. I've got your back. I'll keep it a secret. He Huan's face darkened. How was he supposed to explain his way out of this? That evening, in the house directly across from He Huan's home, Guo Jing carried a plate of diced watermelon into Li Lan's room. She saw her daughter hunched over her homework and nodded, satisfied. Lan, take a break, have some watermelon. Li Lan put down her pen, poked a toothpick into a piece, and said, Mom, someone like He Huan just wrote his exam number wrong. Why can't they still count his score? He worked so hard, and he still got last place. It's really discouraging. Guo Jing raised an eyebrow. I thought you two weren't even talking. Since when are you defending him? Li Lan's face went red. I'm not defending him. It just feels unfair. This wasn't the college entrance exam. Why be so strict about it? Every year, students mess up their exam numbers on the college entrance exams. The school made this rule to drill that seriousness into you. Better get a 0 on a regular test than on the real thing, otherwise, all those years of hard work go down the drain. She paused. Besides, He Huan has already accepted it. Don't worry about him. Who's worried about him? I was just saying. Guo Jing chuckled. Speaking of which, I'm planning to rearrange the seats soon. Again? Didn't you tell me before that you didn't want to sit next to He Huan? That was then. This was now. Li Lan didn't know how to explain. After a long pause, she said, honestly, He Huan isn't that annoying. He just doesn't talk much, but that's fine, right? Both our grades went up. So you still want him as your desk mate? Li Lan didn't dare say yes, and she couldn't meet her mother's eyes. She was afraid Guo Jing would see right through her trying to sound casual. She said, I never said I had to sit with He Huan. You're the homeroom teacher. You decide the seating. Don't ask for my opinion. Guo Jing smiled. All right, since you have no opinion, I'll let He Huan keep sitting with you. You've both improved a lot, so it seems to be working. Li Lan felt a rush of happiness, but all she said was, oh. Guo Jing turned to leave, then paused at the door. By the way, you got first in the class on this exam. Your dad wants to know what you want as a gift. Li Lan's eyes lit up. Really? If you don't believe me, go ask him yourself. Li Lan stepped out of her room and spotted her father on the balcony, phone pressed to his ear. Why was he still on the phone this late? She knew his business had been having problems lately, but he never spelled out the details. She walked over just as the call was ending. She heard him say, I came to you with total sincerity. Working together would be great, but if not, we can still be friends. Yes, I understand. Thank you, President Han, for giving me this chance. I'll be at Tianfu Tea House on time tomorrow at noon. All right, I won't keep you any longer. Li Jun hung up, looked up, and found Li Lan watching him with an odd expression. Lan, what's up? You're going to Tianfu Tea House tomorrow to talk business? Yeah, why? Do you know that place? Of course she knew it. The owner had bought her family's aged tea. The words nearly tumbled out of her mouth. She almost mentioned that He Huan went there every day at noon, but she saw Guo Jing approaching and thought better of it. She didn't want her mom to think she was always keeping tabs on He Huan. Dad, why are you on the phone so much at night lately? Is business not going well? Guo Jing snorted from behind. He has no one to blame but himself. Li Jun gave an embarrassed smile. That crazy woman Zhu Minute has been spreading rumors about me. All my government-related projects are on hold now, but it's okay, civil construction is booming, so I'm using this chance to switch fields. Starting fresh might be tough, but the market's huge. It'll pick up eventually. Li Lan didn't know much about business, but seeing her father so confident made her smile. Dad, I believe in you. Even if Guo Jing was hard on Li Jun, seeing father and daughter so close warmed her heart. Forget work for now, she said. Your daughter got first place this time. How are you going to reward her? Li Jun beamed. His daughter's grades made him prouder than buying a new house or a car. Lan Lan, whatever you want, I'll buy it for you. I don't want a present. My birthday's in a few days. I just want the three of us to go out for a nice, big meal together. Sounds good. We'll do that, a nice, big meal. After Li Lan went back to her room, Li Jun sank onto the sofa and rubbed his temples, exhausted. He had made it sound easy to his daughter, but in reality he'd called many times before the other party even agreed to meet. Landing this project would be incredibly difficult. All his connections were in the government sector. Shifting to civil construction, he didn't have a single person who could make an introduction. If only I knew someone who could help. The next morning, Li Lan stepped out of the residential complex and saw He Huan and his sister outside a steamed bun shop. He Huan, He Chen, you two are early. He Chen turned around with a warm smile. Li Lan, have you had breakfast yet? Want to have some buns with us? Li Lan eyed the plump white meat buns steaming in the bamboo steamer and felt her mouth water. Sure, boss. 2 big meat buns for me. She reached for her wallet, but He Chen stopped her. Li Lan, I'm treating today. That's not right. It's fine. My brother's paying anyway. He Huan's face went hot. What kind of world was this? You treat, and I pay. Li Lan had never heard that one before. Her eyes crinkled as she laughed. He Huan paid, and the three of them each grabbed a plastic bag with buns inside, eating as they walked toward school. Li Lan remembered her father's phone call the night before. Hey, He Huan, are you still going to Qianfu Tea House at noon today? Yeah, why? Nothing, just wondering. He Huan looked confused. Then Li Lan asked, does a boss named Han often drink tea there? You mean Han Chi? I don't know his name. He Huan stopped walking and turned to face her. Class beauty Li, what exactly are you trying to ask? Li Lan opened her mouth, then shut it and said, nothing, just curious. She couldn't bring herself to ask He Huan to help her father with business. She just figured that if He Huan ran into her dad at noon, maybe he'd say something to help. At noon, Li Jun scarfed down a bowl of fried rice noodles and headed over to Qianfu Tea House early. He stepped inside and found the place empty except for a man in his 40s. Peng Zhongwo was sorting tea leaves. The moment he saw Li Jun, he hurried over. Looking to buy some tea? Yeah, what time does Manager Han usually come by for tea? Peng Zhongwo glanced at his watch. He usually stops in after lunch. It's almost 12:30, so he should be here any minute. And Manager Tang, does he come for tea too? Those two always arrive and leave together. Are you a friend of theirs? Yeah. We set up a meeting here today to go over something. Li Jun scanned the shelves lined with different teas. What do they normally drink? Green tea, mostly. Then give me 2 gin of whatever good green tea you've got. Only 2. Li Jun blinked. These are gifts for Manager Tang and Manager Han. Why would I need more than 2? Their company has 3 shareholders, and all 3 of them are in here drinking tea together all the time. You sure you only want 2? What? Li Jun stared. Who's the 3rd shareholder? Before Peng Zhongwo could answer, Footsteps echoed outside and Tang Shengji and Han Qi walked in. Li Jun dropped the question and rushed to greet them. Manager Tang, Manager Han. A pleasure. I'm Li Jun, from plumbing, electrical, and fire protection. Tang Shengji shook his hand. Han just filled me in. Let's talk over tea. Li Jun hung back deliberately. Once the two men had entered the private room, he leaned toward Peng Zhongwo and whispered, "Make it 3 then, the good stuff. Bring them in when they're ready." Whoever the third shareholder was, he could worry about that later. Extra gifts never hurt. Better safe than sorry. Peng Zhongwo nodded and went to wrap the tea. Li Jun rejoined them. Tang Shengji was in the seat of honor, brewing tea. Han Qi sat across from him. Both men offered a brief smile, a small nod, and a gesture toward the other chair. The polite brush-off made Li Jun's heart sink. He tried to console himself. Even if he didn't land the project, building some rapport couldn't hurt. Maybe next time. He sat down next to Han Qi with a smile. "I didn't know you two were tea lovers. I do drink tea, but mostly at home. I don't get out to places like this much. Han and I just come here for the quiet. We sit, have some tea, and unwind for a bit every afternoon." Han Qi laughed. "I'm a rough guy. I'm just tagging along with Manager Tang, pretending I've got a shred of culture." President Li, let's cut the small talk. Tell us about your company. Li Jun pulled 2 folders from his bag and handed one to Tang Shengji and one to Han Qi. "These are some project portfolios, please. Take a look." Tang Shengji accepted the folder, glanced at the first page, and set it down. "Han mentioned you mainly handled government projects before?" "That's right. I used to focus on government work, but I've also done residential plumbing and electrical. That's covered on page 5. Tang Shengji flipped to page 5, skimmed it, and frowned. Li Jun jumped in. "Even though I haven't worked on plumbing, electrical, and fire protection for high-rises like yours, I've got a solid technical team and experienced crews. I'm confident we can do the job right." The tea was finally ready. Tang Shengji poured Li Jun a cup. "What's your price range?" "It depends on the project specs, but under normal circumstances, water, electricity, and fire protection for one building would run around 400,000. That was a reasonable number. Tang Shengji pressed on. "And the payment terms?" 10% deposit up front. 30% when I order materials. Once we start construction and the project passes inspection, you pay the remaining 60%. If cash flow is an issue, that last payment can be split into 2 installments. Tang Shengji kept his voice even. "President Li, your quote and terms are fair, but they're not competitive. And to be honest, before you walked in today, we were already down to the final details with another boss. A man named Shu. We're just short of signing and stamping the contract. I'll hold on to your materials. If something comes up next time, we can work together." Li Jun had braced himself for this outcome. He forced a smile. "That's fine. No deal, no hard feelings." As he stepped out of the private room, the disappointment in his eyes was hard to miss. The whole thing had lasted maybe 10 minutes, just going through the motions. What could he do? He simply didn't have enough connections or a strong enough track record. Peng Zhongwo saw the look on Li Jun's face but still carried over 3 packs of tea. "Do you still want these?" Li Jun stared at the tea and something clicked. If the company had a third shareholder, maybe that person was his way in. He took the packs. "Yeah, I'll take them, but tell me, who is the third shareholder?" Before Peng Zhongwo could answer, a familiar voice drifted in from outside. "Boss Peng, have Brother Tang and Brother Han made it here yet?" The voice was unmistakable. Li Jun turned and blurted, "He Huan, what are you doing here?" He Huan spotted Li Jun at the same time. He glanced at the tea in Li Jun's hands, curious. Uncle Li, you came to buy tea? Li Jun gave an awkward smile. That, and to talk business. What kind of business? With who? Just as Li Jun was about to answer, Tang Shengji and Han Qi emerged from the private room. Suddenly, Li Jun felt too embarrassed to speak. Tang Shengji looked between them, surprised. Brother He, you know this guy? He Huan caught on immediately and laughed. What a coincidence. Uncle Li's my neighbor, we see each other all the time. Han Qi looked sheepish. President Li, why didn't you mention you knew brother He? Come on back in. Let's talk this through again. Li Jun stood there, completely stunned. The third shareholder in their company, of all people, was He Huan. The group walked back into the private room, and this time He Huan took the seat of honor and started making tea. Li Jun set out a gift box of tea leaves. I brought these for you three bosses. Tang Shengji was about to politely refuse when he saw He Huan simply take his share and put it aside. Thanks, Uncle Li. Since He Huan accepted, Tang Shengji and Han Qi figured refusing would be rude, so they each took their boxes too. Li Jun felt a wave of relief. Once the tea was accepted, the negotiations would go much smoother. As He Huan poured tea for everyone, he asked, Uncle Li, I know you're in business, but I don't know exactly what you do. Plumbing, electrical, fire protection. I used to focus mostly on government projects, but with real estate booming, I'm shifting gears. He Huan caught the subtext right away. So you don't have a track record with high-rise buildings? Li Jun nodded awkwardly. The work is basically the same. I've got professional crews. As long as I build to national standards, I guarantee it'll pass inspection. He Huan guessed this was exactly why Li Jun had been turned down before. No matter how much you promise, without a proven track record, who's going to hand you the whole package? If something goes wrong, who pays the bill? He Huan chuckled. Speaking of first times, a few days ago we got into a brawl with Ku Zhibang. Li Jun's eyes widened. You guys killed Ku Zhibang? Uncle Li, watch your wording. We didn't kill him. He lost the fight and died of anger. Li Jun's mind reeled. Anger? Did people actually die from that? He let out an awkward laugh. I heard some rumors, but I had nothing to do with Ku Zhibang, so I didn't look into it. He Huan went on. Uncle Li, do you know why he died of rage? Why? Everyone knows Ku Zhibang started out as a street thug. In his youth, fighting and doing jail time were nothing special. But his opponents, I've never been in a fight. Old brother Tang probably hasn't either. Brother Han might have been in a few, but nothing on that scale. The first time we three ever brawled, we put all of Ku Zhibang's men in the hospital. Tell me, doesn't that make you mad? Li Jun finally realized He Huan had been circling around just to make a point on his behalf. He quickly jumped in. Mr. He is right. Everyone has a first time. If you take it seriously, you might even outdo the old hands. Tang Shengji knew exactly what He Huan was driving at. He laughed. President Li, since you're a friend of brother He, I'll treat you like family and speak plainly. Li Jun's heart leaped. Please, President Tang. Go ahead. Honestly, that's why I hesitated earlier. Hiring someone with experience is obviously safer than hiring someone without. That's a completely fair concern. Let me give you my word, if the work I do fails inspection, I'll cover all losses. That was exactly what Tang Shengji wanted to hear. He smiled. With your guarantee, I'm reassured. Li Jun felt a surge of joy, but Tang Shengji shifted gears. I heard a rumor recently, not sure if it's true, But they say your government projects dried up because of some trouble at home. Li Jun gave an awkward smile. I didn't think that little bit of disgrace would reach your ears, that I'm ashamed to admit I was blinded by a worthless kept woman. The rumors she spread around government circles had no proof, otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here drinking tea with you gentlemen. Tang Shengji and Han Qi both nodded. The woman had made a fuss, but no official suffered for it. That meant Li Jun had handled the situation responsibly. He Huan grinned. I met that woman once. I could tell at a glance she was trouble. But we're a private company, not government officials who have to worry about appearances. If she dares show up at our construction site, we'll kick her out. Li Jun was so moved he nearly teared up. Who else would stand up for him like that? This was truly treating him like family. Tang Shengji turned to Han Qi. Old Han, what do you think? Han Qi said, since President Li is brother his friend, we definitely have to show him respect, but we've already talked to Xu Hui, and we can't shut him out completely. How about this? We have 14 buildings. Xu Hui and President Li each take half. Tang Shengji looked at Li Jun. President Li, what do you say? Li Jun's heart raced. He'd been hoping for maybe one building, now he was looking at 7. A project worth over 2 million. 7 is perfect. I couldn't handle more anyway. Tang Shengji laughed. The work is yours, but quality, President Tang, rest assured that I guarantee quality and quantity. If the plumbing, electrical, or fire protection fail inspection, I won't take a single cent. Alright, old Han, call Xiao Liu and have him bring the blueprints over. President Li, call your technical team too, let them coordinate this afternoon, and we'll sign the contract today. Li Jun was elated. He nodded and pulled out his phone to call his men. After the call, Li Jun turned to He Huan. The first time I met you, I knew you were someone special, not destined for an ordinary life. I never imagined you'd be so accomplished so young, running such a big business. He Huan waved it off. I barely handle the construction stuff. My 2 older brothers do all the heavy lifting. I just make tea for them. Han Qi laughed. Brother He, you're way too modest. Li Jun chimed in. Exactly. My daughter is his classmate. My wife is his homeroom teacher. Neither of them knew He Huan is a shareholder in your company. Tang Shengji, who had been sipping his tea, froze. He looked at Li Jun. Do you live right across from brother He? Yeah, we're neighbors. Tang Shengji slapped his thigh, nearly choking on regret. Li Jun asked in surprise, President Tang, what's wrong? Tang Shengji stared at Li Jun, suddenly finding his smile profoundly irritating. This old guy wants to steal my father-in-law's spot. That's what this is. While He Huan was around, Tang Shengji kept himself in check. But the moment He Huan left for school, Tang's expression soured. When Li Jun tried talking to him, he barely got a reply. It showed most in Tang Shengji's eyes. Every time he glanced at Li Jun, he would unconsciously narrow them a little. It reminded Li Jun of those nature documentaries where a male lion spots a rival stepping into his territory. Pure vigilance. Pure warning. Li Jun was baffled. What exactly were he and Tang fighting over? A lioness. Just as Li Jun sank deeper into his confusion, Tang Shengji seemed to figure something out. A smirk tugged at the corner of his mouth. And now you're smiling. Seriously, what is going on with this guy? Tang Shengji was starting to get under his skin. He prodded. Mr. Tang? Tang Shengji paused, then said, President Li, I heard your wife teaches at number 1 middle school. She's He Huan's homeroom teacher, right? Could you give me her contact information? Li Jun's mind flashed red. You bastard. Things aren't perfect between Guojing and me, but we're still married. And now you're asking for my wife's number right in front of my face. What's your angle? A man may be killed but not humiliated. I'd scrap the whole project before I let you walk all over me. Li Jun's gaze turned guarded. Why do you need my wife's number? Tang Shengji blinked, caught off guard by the pushback. No way, this old fox can't be that sharp. There's no way he read my mind, but even if he did, so what? You think hiding it will stop me from getting what I want? Tang snorted. You think keeping it quiet is going to help? You really believe I can't reach the school leadership through other means? Han Chi, standing nearby, watched the two of them suddenly square off with no idea what had sparked it. What are you two doing? Looking for someone at number 1 middle school? That was when Li Jun realized he'd completely misread the situation. He hurried to apologize. Sorry, Mr. Tang, that I wasn't thinking straight. You need someone at the school? No need to bother my wife. I know the principal well. Come on, I'll take you there. Tang Shengji was both surprised and pleased that Li Jun backed down so quickly, but the question still nagged at him. Is this guy trying to steal my future son-in-law or not? Seeing them both heading out, Han Chi called after them. Where are you two suddenly running off to? We haven't even signed the contract yet. Tang Shengji didn't even turn around. No rush, that project of his isn't breaking ground anytime soon. We can sign tomorrow morning. Back in the classroom, most students were sprawled across their desks, napping. As He Huan slid into his seat, his deskmate, the class beauty Li Lan, cracked open a sleepy Li Lan sat up straighter, hesitated, then forced the words out. He Huan, do you want some tea? He found her expression amusing, that conflicted look on her face proud, but trying so hard to be accommodating. You just want to know how your dad's lunch meeting went. Why make it so awkward? Sure. Oh, I'll go make it for you. Li Lan picked up He Huan's cup, dropped a few tea leaves in, then glanced around to make sure everyone was still asleep before she felt bold enough to go get hot water. The thought alone gave He Huan a quiet thrill. The class's top student making tea for the dead last underachiever, but then again, if it weren't for me, your dad wouldn't have landed that 2 million plus project. A cup of tea was the least you could do. He Huan accepted the tea service from the class beauty without a shred of guilt. When Li Lan set the cup in front of him, he simply said, thanks. Li Lan gathered her courage and whispered, He Huan, when you went to the tea house at noon, did you see my dad? Yeah, I saw him. So how did his meeting go? Seemed pretty good. Li Lan let out a long breath. A faint smile spread across her face. He Huan gave her a teasing look. Class beauty, next time you want to say something, just say I teed. No need to beat around the bush. Who's beating around the bush? Weren't you? You were talking all weird this morning, asking if I knew someone named Han. If you wanted my help, you could have just told me straight up. A sudden sweetness hit Li Lan's heart. She asked quietly, so did you help? Ask your dad. No sooner had He Huan spoken than Li Lan's eyes went wide. She blurted out, Dad. Her. Since when did she get so polite? He Huan sensed something was off. He turned around and saw Tang Shengji and Li Jun standing right outside the classroom doorway. What are these two old guys doing at my school? He quickly walked out and said to Tang Shengji, Brother Tang, what brings you here? Tang Shengji forced a stiff smile. So you're desk mates with President Li's daughter? The way he said it struck He Huan as odd. Usually it was girls getting jealous of each other. Now a future father-in-law was getting jealous on his daughter's behalf. That was a new one. Li Lan's grades are good and mine aren't. Teacher Guo wanted her to help me study. Li Jun chimed in, almost bragging. President, he might not be the top student, but he's got a good heart. It's the least we could do to help. Tang Shengji's face darkened even more. Li Lan could feel the sharp hostility Tang was aiming at her. She whispered to Li Jun, "Dad, why are you at my school?" "Oh, Manager Tang said he needed to see someone here, so I came along." He Huan looked suspicious. "Brother Tang, what business do you have at number 1 middle school?" Tang Shengji chuckled. "You'll find out in a few days." Huh, what was that supposed to mean? Was he doing a project on campus, donating a building? The guy was broke. Where would he get the money to donate a building, unless there was some new construction going on here? Tang Shengji and Li Jun headed off to find the school administrators. Li Lan and He Huan returned to their seats. Li Lan asked quietly, "Why does my dad call you President He?" He Huan looked at her like she'd asked something ridiculous. "Didn't you have lunch with us on National Day? You couldn't tell what kind of relationship I have with Tang Shengji and Han Qi?" Li Lan blushed and muttered, "Well, who would have thought someone that young would be running a business? I just threw in some money. I don't handle anything else. Small stuff. Not worth bringing up." Small stuff. Then what did that make her dad's business? He Huan didn't see Tang Shengji for the rest of the afternoon, and he had no idea what the old guy was up to. When school let out, he went home. Liu Mai had 3 dishes and a soup ready for him and his sister, fish, meat, and vegetables. You had to hand it to her. Ever since He Huan started giving her his living expenses, the family's standard of living had shot straight up. They were eating happily when a knock came at the door. Liu Mai hurried to open it and found Guo Jing holding a bag of rice in one hand and a jug of oil in the other. Behind her, Li Lan was carrying several bags of fruit. Liu Mai was still processing the scene when Guo Jing started hauling the oil and rice into the house. Flustered and shocked, Liu Mai tried to stop her. Since when did a homeroom teacher bring gifts to a student's home? That was completely backwards. "Teacher Guo, what are you doing?" Guo Jing said quickly, "He Huan's mom, this rapeseed oil was pressed at my family's farm, and the rice was grown by the old folks back home. We have more than we can eat, so I brought some for you to try. We have plenty of rice and oil. You keep them for yourselves. Besides, He Huan has been so well taken care of at school, thanks to you. If anyone should be giving gifts, it should be us. How can I accept this?" "Didn't He Huan tell you?" "Tell me what?" "My husband went to negotiate a deal this afternoon, and thanks to He Huan's help, he managed to close the contract." Liu Mai waved it off. "That's what he should have done. If he hadn't helped, I would have scolded him." Guo Jing smiled. He Huan's mom, that contract was worth over 2 million. 2 million? Liu Mai's mouth fell open. She turned to look at He Huan, as if she couldn't believe her son had that kind of pull, that a few words from him could help someone land a 2 million contract. Why now? He Huan had walked to the door. He took the rice and oil from Guo Jing's hands. "Thank you, Teacher Guo." Liu Mai smacked his arm. "You rude kid, even if you helped, you can't accept a gift from your teacher." He Huan gave a wry smile. His mom had never been good at social niceties. She was too straightforward. If you accepted the gifts, Teacher Guo's family would be happy. If you refused, they'd feel uneasy. So he explained, "Teacher Guo brought these all the way from her hometown. They're heavy. If you don't accept them, won't you be disrespecting their kindness?" Guo Jing chimed in, "That's right, He Huan's mom. These aren't valuable, but they're a token of appreciation. If you don't mind, please take them." "I don't mind. I just feel too embarrassed." In the end, Liu Mai had no choice but to accept the rice and oil. He Huan also took the 3 big bags of fruit from Li Lan. Inside one was a durian. Back then, durians were still a rare treat. He Huan asked politely, "Teacher Guo, have you eaten yet?" Guo Jing had rushed straight to the supermarket after work. The rice and oil she'd claimed were from her farm were actually store-bought, the best ones on the market. She hadn't had time to eat, and going home to cook now would be too late, but eating at He Huan's place felt awkward. Seeing her hesitate, Liu Mai guessed they hadn't eaten. She grabbed Guo Jing's hand. "Teacher Guo, come in and have a bite. We happened to cook extra rice today." Guo Jing was about to refuse when Liu Mai added, "The kids still have evening classes. Li Lan can go to school with both of mine after she eats." Guo Jing swallowed the words she was about to say. Letting her daughter go home and eat instant noodles wouldn't be good for her nutrition. Liu Mai used to make egg fried rice for He Huan and his sister before morning classes. Now that they ate breakfast out, she still cooked extra rice at night on purpose. He Qian opened the rice cooker. There were exactly 2 bowls of rice left. She filled both and brought them over. Liu Mai wanted to stir-fry another dish, but Guo Jing insisted she didn't need to. Good thing He Huan was the only boy at the table, otherwise 3 dishes and a soup might not have been enough. He Huan asked casually, "Teacher Guo, where's Uncle Li Jun? Is he home?" He said he went out drinking with 2 clients from the buyer's side. Guo Jing suddenly looked at He Huan. "Oh, by the way, He Huan, how do you know those 2 bosses?" Liu Mai was curious. "Which 2 bosses?" "Tang Shengji and Han Qi." "Oh, those 2. Liu Mai smiled. "Teacher Guo, you might not know this, but I've met them, including their wives. We even had dinner together a few days ago." Guo Jing was stunned. Then she heard Li Lan mutter, "He Huan is their business partner." Li Jun hadn't explained clearly on the phone. He'd only said He Huan helped him land the contract. Now Guo Jing understood that He Huan was one of the shareholders, which was why he had so much say. Her own student was doing bigger business than her husband. It felt surreal. When Liu Mai saw Guo Jing fall silent, she worried the teacher might be upset that her son wasn't focusing on school. She quickly explained, "Teacher Guo, I know about this. He Huan only invested some money. He doesn't get involved in the construction work. He comes home every night and does homework until late. It's just that he's too slow, not cut out for studying." Everyone at the table laughed. Only He Huan wore a sour face. Guo Jing smiled. "Actually, He Huan is quite focused in class. We teachers all notice it. And in this month's exam, he mistyped his exam number out of carelessness. Otherwise, his score would have moved him up more than 10 spots in the class ranking." Liu Mai's eyes lit up, and she quickly flattered her. "That's all thanks to Teacher Guo's teaching. He Huan, don't you have something to say to Teacher Guo?" He Huan said, "Thank you for your guidance, Teacher Guo." Guo Jing smiled back. "I should thank you too for having your relative help me with stock trading." Liu Mai was baffled. She turned to He Huan. "Which relative of yours trades stocks? Isn't it you who does the trading?" He Huan thought, "Well, the cat's out of the bag." He gave an awkward smile and said nothing. Guo Jing had already suspected He Huan was the one trading stocks, so she wasn't surprised. She asked him, "He Huan, how can someone your age be so capable, trading stocks and doing business?" He Huan laughed sheepishly. "Just dumb luck." After dinner, He Huan, Guo Jing, and the girls headed to school. Liu Mai cleared the dishes and looked at the durian Guo Jing had brought. "What is this thing? Why does it stink so bad? Is it even edible?" She couldn't stand the smell, so she put the durian out on the balcony. The house finally smelled fresh again. On the way to school, Guo Jing and He Huan walked ahead while Li Lan and He Qian trailed behind, chattering about this year's hit show on Mango TV, Superboy. 1 minute they were going on about how good-looking a contestant was, the next how amazing someone else's singing was, but little by little, The conversation up front pulled them in. Guo Jing and He Huan were debating the pros and cons of the Chinese education system versus the West. Li Lan was surprised to hear Guo Jing praising foreign education for producing more talent, while He Huan argued that China's system was fairer and more advanced. Guo Jing shot back, if it's so advanced, why are there barely any Chinese universities in the global rankings? Because those rankings are made by foreigners, He Huan said. Political and cultural factors guarantee they'll never let our schools top the list. The real measure of an education system is how many capable people it produces for its own country. It's like a hospital. A good hospital isn't about fancy buildings or cutting-edge equipment, it's about actually curing patients. Same logic. Those rankings are just money and politics. Completely worthless. Then what about Harvard and Oxford? Don't they produce massive talent? He Huan gave a short laugh. Teacher Guo, think about it. Over the last 10 or 15 years, what major technological breakthroughs have come out of the West? Guo Jing thought for a moment but came up empty. He Huan went on, let me give you one example, aerospace. Foreign space programs have basically stalled these past few years, but if you watched the Chang'e 1 launch live, you'd have seen most of the researchers were around 30. Those scientists weren't trained at foreign universities, and it's not just aerospace. I believe that over time, our country will make enormous strides in military tech, communications, artificial intelligence, high-end manufacturing, you name it, all of it driven by homegrown talent. Sure, our education system isn't perfect. But compared to everything else out there, I still think it's miles ahead. Li Lan walked behind them, listening quietly as He Huan held forth. The setting sun lit up his face, catching the straight line of his nose and the slight curve of his lips. A breeze ruffled the stray hairs on his forehead. She felt her cheeks warm. So this is what a spirited young man looks like. During evening study hall, He Huan kept sensing that the proud class beauty next to him was acting strange again. He had no clue what she was daydreaming about, but every so often she'd bite her lip and smile to herself. During the break, Guo Jing called Li Lan outside. Lan, walk home with He Huan and his sister tonight. I need to go to the hospital. Mom, are you sick again? Guo Jing sighed, her voice weary. Your dad got drunk. Again. I'm going to check on him. Li Lan was speechless. He'd just gotten out of the hospital a few days ago because of his drinking, and now he was right back in. But then the thought of walking home with He Huan after class made her heart skip. The bell finally rang, marking the end of evening study. He Huan was gathering his textbooks when Li Lan called out, He Huan, wait up. I'm walking with you tonight. From behind, Feng Gan let out a low, sly laugh, shot He Huan a thumbs up, and slipped downstairs without a word. He Huan muttered, Li Lan, why are you going home with He Huan? Li Lan knew He Huan was jumping to conclusions, but instead of getting annoyed, she felt a little flutter of pleasure. Face flushing, she said, what are you thinking? My house is right next to his. Why Mom left early tonight. What's weird about walking together? He Huan stuck out her tongue and turned to He Huan. Hey, you hear that? No funny business with our class beauty. He Huan rolled his eyes. Only someone who reads too many romance novels would have their head stuffed with puppy love. He Huan bristled. Who's talking about puppy love? He Huan, don't you run off, say that again. He Qian was waiting at the school gate and stared when she saw her brother being chased by a slightly plump girl. Li Lan jogged after them and finally caught up at the gate. He Huan, calm down, she said, exasperated. He Huan shot back. This He Huan is clearly up to no good. Class beauty, you better watch out. She glared at him fiercely. If only he were up to no good. Li Lan sighed softly. I know. Go on home first. He Huan shook her little fist at He Huan and finally left. The three of them walked home. He Chen asked, "Bro, why was that kind of chubby girl chasing you?" Afraid He Chen would get the wrong idea, Li Lan jumped in. "He Huan's just like that, loud and always joking around. She doesn't mean any harm." He Chen said, "Oh," and soon the two girls were chattering again about all kinds of gossip. When they arrived, Li Lan unlocked her door to find the room pitch dark. Her parents clearly weren't back from the hospital yet. He Chen said, "Sister Lan, no one's home? They should be back soon. Aren't you scared alone? Want to come hang out at my place for a bit?" He Huan couldn't help chiming in, "What's there to be scared of in your own house? You're just meddling." Li Lan gave an awkward smile. "No, it's fine." She stepped into the dark apartment. He Chen rolled her eyes at He Huan. Her brother was such a blockhead. As soon as the siblings walked inside, Liu Mai called out, "Huan Huan, Qian, go check that fruit on the balcony. Is it rotten?" He Huan went to the balcony and spotted a durian sitting on the floor. He nearly laughed out loud. He brought it back to the living room. "That's just the smell of durian. It stinks, but it tastes amazing." He cracked it open and scooped out the flesh. "Mom, Qian, try some. This fruit is expensive. Teacher Gua shelled out a pretty penny for it." Both women took a bite and exclaimed, "Hey, it's actually not bad." Sure enough, most women seemed to like durian. He Huan went to his room and habitually pulled out his phone. He opened QQ, and just as expected, there was a message from Tang Cici, but it was just a smiley face emoji. What was that supposed to mean? He sent back a question mark. Tang Cici replied almost instantly, "Just 2 words. You guess." How was he supposed to guess that? What was up with this girl today?